Hello all. This short video will talk about childhood obesity, the prevalence of it worldwide, potential causes, possible future health complications, and recommendations to prevent childhood obesity. BMI is defined as weight in kilograms divided by meters squared. Normally, an adult would be categorized as obese with a BMI over 30. However, in children there are different guidelines. The CDC has growth charts that are used to measure the size and growth patterns of children and teens in the United States. A BMI at or above the 95th percentile for their age and sex puts a child in the obese category. Childhood obesity is not only an issue in the United States, but is viewed as a worldwide epidemic. Childhood obesity can lead to many other health complications that will be outlined later. However, it is preventable. Recommendations will be discussed in this presentation to help give an idea of how to prevent it. A study by Wang and Lim in 2012 stated a total of 43 million children, 35 million in developing countries, were estimated to be overweight or obese. 92 million were at risk of being overweight in 2010. Here are some risk factors associated with childhood obesity. These were taken from the Millennium Case Study, which sampled 17,561 singleton children, of which 15,062 were white European, 1,845 were Asian, 654 were African. Listed are risk factors from the study. Eating habits that put children at risk for childhood obesity include early introduction of solid foods before 6 months, irregular eating patterns including snacking and lack of fruits and vegetables are all examples of poor eating habits, lack of physical activity or sedentary lifestyle, mother's weight, alcohol consumption, and smoking. Low socioeconomic status also has a direct correlation with higher childhood obesity rate. Lower education level tends to also yield a higher rate of obesity. High birth weight above 8 pounds 13 ounces or 4,000 grams was associated with childhood obesity. Genetic factors can also play a role but are not able to be manipulated. Future health complications include hypertension, development of type 2 diabetes mellitus, hypercholesteremia, otherwise known as high blood cholesterol, which can also be an additional risk factor for the next mentioned disease, cardiovascular disease, which is the leading cause of death in the world, respiratory issues such as asthma and sleep apnea, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and may even lead to premature death. Here are some recommendations I have outlined for prevention of childhood obesity, including limiting sugar-sweetened beverages, which are defined as any liquid sweetened with various forms of added sugars, limiting screen time to 1 hour per day, encouraging regular physical activity at least 150 minutes per week, but added health benefits are seen with more than 300 minutes per week. Never using food as a reward for tasks, limiting energy-dense foods such as candy, cookies, cakes, and fast food because they are high in sugar and high in fat. Cook meals at home so you can ensure well-balanced meals for children. Increase fiber intake because fiber makes you have regular bowel movements and also allows you to be more satiated. Limit snacking and do not allow children to skip meals, especially not breakfast. Infants should be breastfed if at all possible for up to a year and should not be introduced solid foods until 6 months. Solid food should be given one at a time. Iron-fortified cereals should be introduced to children at around 6 months, then pureed vegetables if tolerable, followed by pureed fruits if there are no complications, and lastly, cooked legumes and meats. Around the 8 to 10 month mark, children can begin eating finger foods, mashed fruits, and vegetables, and small amounts of dairy. The 10 to 12 month mark, babies can try eating most of the food adults eat now, cut up or mashed properly. This will ensure children are not being introduced to foods too soon. The last recommendation is vegetarian or vegan diet. Evidence shows that a plant-based diet seems to be a sensible approach to preventing childhood obesity if it is appropriately planned and monitored by a healthcare professional or registered dietitian. This would lower the risk for a child developing any nutrient deficiencies. The last slide is a summary of everything that I've already outlined. These would increase the risk of childhood obesity: energy-dense foods, sedentary lifestyle, sugar-sweetened beverage consumption, screen time, high birth weight, and snacking. And these would decrease the risk of obesity: physical activity, vegetarian diet, breastfeeding, nutrient-dense foods, frequent daily meals, and adequate fiber intake. And this concludes my presentation.